Hello guys and welcome back to the Overline Football Podcast, episode 5. This podcast is going to be the most underrated players in Premier League history. First of all, before we get into the video or anything you're watching us on, first of all, thank you very much to everyone on YouTube watching us. We've recently hit over 1,000 views on the channel, which is amazing. Just got 65 subscribers as well, which might not sound much, but it is to us. It's a little project we're doing together, so we appreciate it lots. We're now on Spotify, so if you listen to us on Spotify, welcome, thank you. We'll put the link to that on our Twitter when we tweet out any videos. There's also a link in the description as well.
Also gives you an opportunity not to look at our horrible faces.
Yeah.
Just
so
it's
even just have this on the background somewhere in the car and you're driving somewhere on the train to work, or just even in the background while you're playing your Xbox or PlayStation. Just that in the background. So yeah, we're gonna get into it now, Harry. So we decided out of 10 players on this list who we think out of all time are the most underrated, we will say. So
we could possibly have missed some, but
these
are the ones we could think of.
We're both on the low age of 20, so some of these players is more recent, we'll say.
Yeah, they're more recent.
Yeah,
it's from like what you'd say, 2000 and
we'll say from about 2008 to about now.
Yeah,
where we'll go the difference wise. That's where basically where
that is where because we were what 8. Then,
yeah,
so it was 8 until we're 20 basically. So we had a good 12, 15 years.
First man is the big Frenchman is Olivier Giroud. 252 Premier League appearances for Chelsea and Arsenal. 90 goals, 73 for Arsenal, 17 for Chelsea. He's won 3 FA Cups and now all with Arsenal. He's won the Puskas Award winner for that a scorpion kick, which still wears me out today. He's won the Premier League Player of the Month award in March 2015.
Yeah.
And then not in the Premier League, he's won the World Cup with France. And he won the Ligue 1 with Montpellier before
also
Arsenal signed.
The Europa League with Chelsea.
No.
Last season.
It wasn't last season.
Season before then.
I don't think he was there, I don't think.
He won. There's that video of him in the bus that goes "Thank you Arsenal," doesn't it?
Oh, that's not one. That's off. He's won a European title. Which is nice to see. First of all, Harry, Olivier Giroud, where does he rank in the past decade of strikers for you who have been playing for Arsenal and Chelsea? Really, out of those clubs, because let's be honest, he's basically been their starting man, and you've not really realised
the obvious issue with like kind of rating Giroud has always been that he can be a bit patchy at times. I always remember that, and obviously it was a bit more obvious when De Bruyne broke the assist record last season, but Mesut Ozil was on like must have been 16, 17 assists by January.
Yeah.
And then since Giroud came into the team after that, I'm pretty sure he got 2 in the last 3 months because Giroud could just not finish his dinner. But he definitely falls into the category of underrated because he's done it for so long for a few different clubs now. He's won matches on his own in some instances. You're not a major part of France's World Cup winning team with the likes of Mbappe, Griezmann. The amount of quality France had in that squad.
You're getting other players like Lacazette as well. Obviously, I know Benzema doesn't get picked for the French squad because obviously certain reasons. But he's getting other players as well, and you do feel like in the French squad there is some favourites. That's why Deschamps plays Giroud. But there's no doubt in his quality. I mean, I think he scored a couple of times in the World Cup as well, which is nice to see. But at the end of the day, he's that target man. He is the target man
as well.
Decade.
What I think makes Giroud so good is that he's not just a target man in terms of your typical clunky striker who'll just get in your face and be in them areas in the box where you can just swing crosses in. He can do that, but he's also very gifted technically. Yeah. Like for such a, he's got good feet for a big man. That sort of phrase. But
he's won the Puskas Award winner. You don't see a guy like a target man doing a scorpion kick, do you?
No.
You don't see Peter Crouch whipping over a kick unless he's.
But he's got magnificent technique, and I think even more recently his over a kick against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League was another example. So. His technique with the ball at his feet is really good. He's actually a very underrated passer of the ball. A lot of the times for Arsenal, when you see these magnificent team goals, it's normally him playing the little flit round the corner or the.
Do you mean that Norwich one in particular?
That Norwich one as well. That's the one I can go straight to. But he's never won the Premier League, so maybe that kind of sets him apart from the tier 1 players. But it'd have been interesting, when we did our striker tier list, where we would have rated Giroud. because that'd have been
Well,
an
it's a
interesting
discussion
debate.
to work out. If do you reckon he's better than Jermaine Defoe?
It's a good debate. It's
Saying
really
it's
good
something to
debate.
work out, and different bits and bobs. Like I said, if there's stuff that we want to do. If we recommend, or if you guys want to discuss it yourselves, or on social media, TikTok, wherever we speak on, or even just T Nan on Spotify, whatever you want to speak to about. just where does Giroud really rank? Because his records basically, he averages a goal every 2.5 games. So if he plays 5 games in the Premier League, he would have scored 2 goals. So he's basically averaging roughly about 15 goals a season.
Well, look again, like we said with the France team. Look at Chelsea now. The amount of kind of goal scorers they've got: Tammy Abraham, Timo Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic. He's preferred over them preferred over them a lot for Lampard and now for Tuchel as well.
I mean, it does help as well. Kai Havertz has now suddenly found some form as well, so it might boost Chelsea a bit. But when he moved to Chelsea, do you think at the time that was possibly a shock, perhaps, or do you reckon it was more he's on his way out now, Giroud?
Well, it was probably a bit a shock, not shock for Arsenal fans, but it was probably a bit annoying for Arsenal fans. But for anyone else that is not like a rival, it's not like a big thing because it's like, okay, you moved to a rival, but it was like Arsenal didn't want him. Yeah, they wanted to sell him. Chelsea were the ones who wanted him. You know what I mean? And if he wants to go there, he wants to go there. But it was like I think it was a shocker, I say, for Arsenal fans,
right?
Because moving to rivals is never good in football. But no, I just always think that if you're a lad who's not getting game time at the other club, and you kind of deem surplus to requirements, anyone of a decent standard who wants you is always a good move.
Yeah. I mean,
and if he was if Chelsea was the best of the options, you'd imagine it probably was.
Yeah. Well, it's in London as well. And it's only, well, not say down the road, because London's massive, isn't it? But,
yeah, he's settled in London.
Yeah. So, I was more obviously he's done stuff. Obviously, he signed from Arsenal from Montpellier. He won the league with Montpellier. It's just Montpellier is kind of similar to Leicester story. It's kind of like an unknown kind of team it was, and he used to basically the target man for that team and won the league for them, and then he signed for Arsenal. So Montpellier were playing in the Champions League. I remember Montpellier played Arsenal in the Champions League where Podolski scored absolute worldie. Yeah. That volley, I remember that in particular. But he can, like you said, he can turn games on his own. He can win games on his own as well. And if he's starting up front for a World Cup champions France, there's no doubt in his ability from people not in Premier League, definitely anyway. Overall, where's Giroud? I'm trying to think now. I was going to think of a question, but I forgot what I was going to say. Would you say Giroud is better than Tammy Abraham? Or do you reckon...
Right now on form, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So do you reckon if we ask questions to Chelsea fans, do you reckon they say Giroud should play over Tammy Abraham?
Yeah.
If they're fit?
Yeah. At the moment in time, yeah, definitely. The way he's playing.
Fair enough then. So, we got the next player, and he also plays for Chelsea, funnily enough. Azpilicueta. 290 Premier League appearances for Chelsea, 19 this season. 107 clean sheets, just the 9 goals. He's rubbish, isn't he?
Yeah, he's rubbish. 2
Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 1 Carabao Cup, 2 Europa League. Chelsea's player of the season in 2013-14. He's been around Chelsea for it feels like ages now, but I don't think Azpilicueta really gets the recognition he deserves. I mean, when he first came, obviously he won the player of the season like 8 years ago. But you kind of forget how good of a player he's been because of this is obviously like a long time ago. But he's still performing week in week out for Chelsea. Now he's Chelsea's captain as well. I really feel like he's been one of the most underrated players, especially in the fullback position in the Premier League history. I mean,
was he at Chelsea when they won the Champions League?
No, I believe he came. So I think the season after, I believe, where they got the money from. Okay.
But yeah. I think when we talk about Azpilicueta, I was making kind of the team of the decade in 2020, and he was in my team. Yeah, he's been consistently brilliant for Chelsea. I thought start of this season Lampard didn't kind of fancy him, and he was kept out of the team. And the first thing Tuchel's done since he come in, I remember listening to an interview, was
main captain as well.
He wants the captain in the team, so he's got the captain back in the team, and Chelsea have turned it around. He's turned into quite a big leader for him. Maybe his quality is fading, but his age is going to happen, isn't it? But he's been fantastic for a consistent amount of years, and for me, I think he may be underrated in terms of the general consensus of Azpilicueta. Right. But for me, I'd put him in my team of the decade at left back. So I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
there's not been a really surplus of quality in fullback areas as in the last decade.
But I was just more thinking the fact that when you think of players in the past, like you think perhaps like the Kyle Walker, for example, or people that won, but you forget like he's won 2 Premier Leagues, for one.
Yeah.
He's won 2 Europa Leagues. He's won 2 European trophies. He's won 2 Premier Leagues. That automatically makes him a world class player just for that alone. I mean, he's Chelsea player of the season 2013-14. To have a fullback as your player of the season, you must have had an outstanding season for one, for example. I just do feel like he just doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Obviously, I know you said he puts in your team a decade, which I would have done as well. But I feel like the player has done so much for Chelsea and performed so well, because I'm sometimes envious that obviously I'm a Bristol City fan. I'm not going to get to say that Aspilicueta playing for Asawi, for Christ's sake. But do you feel envious towards perhaps Aspilicueta?
I think it's hard
playing for the other teams. Not obviously don't agree matter. You're not.
I think it's hard to find someone who performs how he has on a consistent basis. Like it's solid to find someone like that. And when you find someone that young to play in a specific position, and it's just like, well, he's that good, he's going to be here for 8-9 years, and we don't have to worry about that in the market for the next 8-9 years, barring a catastrophe in terms of injuries. He's, it is brilliant to have, and I'm more envious of that. I mean, as a City fan, we've kind of had a revolving door of fullbacks. So, not since City-wise Pablo Zabaleta have we had a consistent fullback. So yeah, I think it's been an absolute dream for Chelsea, because they've not had to really strengthen. I mean, obviously Chilwell has been brought in now, but that was to kind of replace Aspilicueta. So they've not really had to splash out in that area for a good 8 or 9 years, because he's been so consistent.
That's proves kind of his ability, kind of thing. How he's, I don't know what. I'm not gonna lie, I cannot remember for life me where they signed him from. It might have been
somewhere in Spain.
Benfica,
probably.
I think, probably something random like that.
Maybe.
Half of the good players are playing Benfica, don't they? Anyway, next player we're going to go for is the man who wears jeans himself. It is Romelu Lukaku. 250 Premier League appearances. 252, my bad. Premier League appearances for Chelsea, Man United, Everton, West Brom. 113 Premier League goals he got, Lukaku.
We had him in our tier list, didn't we?
We did. 35 assists. Premier League Player of the Month for Everton in 2017. That was PFA Team of the Year in 2016-2017. He got 25 goals.
Was he on loan then? Or was he permanent at Everton? Did he go on loan to Chelsea to Everton, or was
I think it's for one season they signed him permanently. And then he got Everton's Player of the Season 2016-17, and now he's currently Belgium's all-time top goal scorer ever in 57 goals, and he's currently first in the Serie A with Inter Milan. First of all, go on. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think, if I'm not wrong, he was at Chelsea, and then he went on loan to West Brom, and that kind of made his name.
Yeah, he did. I specifically remember that, obviously, the last game of the season against Old Trafford, Fergie's last game.
Yeah, but then he came back, and Chelsea still didn't fancy him, so did he then leave to Everton?
I think he went on loan for one season, and then signed permanently.
And then obviously went to United afterwards.
I do feel like the only reason Lukaku isn't rated is just because of that Man United. I mean, any other team... I mean, it's Everton record.
United is pretty good.
His Everton record alone, my God, 25 goals in one season isn't an easy feat nowadays. Anyway, especially, I think literally because of how but how toxic your fan base is, to have one player as your main target. How Man United players, you play one striker, don't you? If you're comparing him to your previous players like Van Persie and Rooney, it's going to be quite hard, very hard to get to that level. And because Man United expect results like that, because obviously you have the biggest fan base in the whole of the world, there's a lot of pressure. And I do feel like, unfortunately, Lukaku wasn't able to get to that standard. But we don't forget how well he actually is as a player. I mean, at the end of the day, he's Belgium's all-time top goal scorer. He's currently top 5 for Inter Milan. I know he's been linked recently with City. I know that, and that's come out a recent report like a couple of months ago, which everyone thinks, oh, why have you done that for? But he is a very, very good player. And he's a big powerhouse. He can run through the box. He can. Obviously, people say he's a donkey. People say he's a donkey, stuff like that. And obviously, everyone knows people have preferences. But like I said, I do feel like just his time at Man United is basically not ruined his career, but put a shine on what a great career he's had.
I just don't even think he was that bad at United. I just think United was so quick to let him go. It was ridiculous. Every striker goes through a period of bad form. He'd shown enough in the Premier League previously to to show that he was going to come good. I don't know without being like a Man United fan to know what exactly went on in terms of the ins and outs of why he left the club. Maybe it was a bit more than he also couldn't have played under a worse manager than Jose Mourinho for his sort of style of striker. His sort of powerhouse. You know, he wants to be running at defences and powering his way through like he's for Inter Milan now. His goal scoring record, first of all, speaks for itself, but most of all, he's such a dynamic striker in terms of the range of goals he can score. He's not like similar to Giroud. Actually, he's not one dimensional. You know, he's a big lad, but he uses his ability, his athleticism, in other ways. So like he can bulldoze through a defence, but you can also give him one chance and he could score. But I don't know.
He's actually played the exact same amount of Premier League appearances as Giroud, and he's got
his
23 more goals.
Phenomenal.
But I think sometimes this is what happened with players. We spoke about previously with Harry Kane. He's never won anything with a team. He's won stuff individually, to how he's got. That's proves how good his goal scoring record is. But he's never won anything with a team. He's never won a Premier League. He's never won a European title. He's never won anything like a title wise. So him being currently top of Serie A, performing so well, could be a massive point in Lukaku's career. I feel like, I mean, he goes. I think he goes in probably in this past decade. Probably, I think he's probably higher than Giroud personally in the past decade, strikers wise. I mean, I think he's Everton's best striker. I remember in this past decade, I think also Everton fans might agree how well he was in that like 4 or 3 years he was there. You would see Lukaku appearing on a score sheet every 2 or 3 games, and it's what those kind of players do. Like we said about Harry Kane and the Salahs and the previous video we did about the team of the season. You want to go and check that out, please do. He scores in those games where he might lose 2-0, might draw 2-2. Or 2-0, it's not going to work as that, lose 2-0. So he might lose 2-1, but he's always going to appear on that score sheet, and you just don't realise how well of a player he is. But
being Belgium's top scorer is not bad with the quality
he's 25 goals ahead of Hazard.
Wow, I didn't think of that.
And Hazard's been around the block for years as well. So obviously as well, Belgium haven't really been not prolific. I'm saying they've never won anything, but like they've more recently come into better players in the past decade or so. I mean, I don't think they've really been challenged or anything. I don't remember. I don't want to really think of FIFA, but I'm trying to think of FIFA icons. There's no really Belgium icons that I remember off the top of my head, is there?
Well, the semi-finals in the World Cup in 2018 was the closest they got to any sort of competition, and you would fancy them.
They're currently world ranking #1 in the world right now, Belgium. So
I don't know how they work though, innit? Like, surely France should be the best in the world.
They're second.
They won the last World Cup.
They're second.
How does that work?
No idea. Anyway, we move on to a Man City player now. Harry, you might be able to speak a bit about him. Fernandinho, 239 Premier League appearances for Man City, 18 goals, 16 assists. Not many, is it? 3 Premier Leagues, 5 Carabao Cups. Never won an FA Cup.
Soon to be 6.
Never won an FA Cup. Fernandinho.
That's such a lie.
Has he not? He's won an FA Cup.
He's won an FA Cup.
When did he win the FA Cup?
He won the FA Cup when we won the domestic treble in 18-19.
There we go then. He's in the PFA Team Year in 2018-19 as well.
Yeah.
First of all, Fernandinho, Harry, where's he ranking City's all-time centre midfielders?
He's top 5 in terms of City's buy since Sheikh Mansour took over the club. He is honestly up there with Aguero, Silva, Company, Yaya Toure, and then Fernandinho. I mean, first of all, there was a lot of question marks over his signing because he was 28 at the time.
Right.
He played for Shakhtar Donetsk. He never really shone as much as kind of you'd say he has now. And to be fair to the lad, he paid his own transfer fee.
Did he?
He was that desperate for it to go through that he paid his own transfer fee, which is crazy. He's just such a likable lad if you have him. Maybe he's a bit of a, what would you call a shithouse. So people who are against him are like,
we'll say that.
How when he's playing, you're like, oh, how has he not got yellow card? He's like the master of the dark arts, isn't he? But he's just consistent brilliance for now. He's coming on, what? We signed him in 2014, so it must be 7-8 years. And I mean, I watched him the other day against Everton in the FA Cup quarter final, and he's 35 years of age and he's still bossing it. He's just sensational, and I always think City look a different team with him out of it. He's now City's captain, potentially going to lift a few trophies as captain at the end of the season as well. I think he's one of the best DMs the league's seen, especially in the last decade. But obviously that's a bit of bias.
Yeah.
But I just incorporating the fee he paid, how much he's played, what he's won.
Fee he paid.
Well, the fee he paid. Yeah. How much he's won, performance over a consistent basis, what others say about him. I think he's up there as one of the most. I don't think he's underrated. I think people, especially in the last, since Guardiola comes to the club in particular, have seen how good he is. But City fans from day dot knew how good he was and how he just kind of slotted in next. Obviously, when you with Yaya Toure, you're a bit under the radar. So when City played with two defensive midfielders and had Toure and Fernandinho, it was a bit under the radar. But to him slotting that defense, and every partner he's been with, or when he's been on his own, I mean, a 35-year-old playing in a system where City have basically five up front with two attacking midfielders, the wingers and the striker. He's just patrolling the midfield on his own at 35. Fantastic.
I do feel like in recent years the CDM position has become more prolific. I mean,
More
mainly because of N'Golo Kante. Nothing against any other player.
Kante as well. Yeah.
But the main reason I think that came so prolific is because of what Kante did for Leicester when they won the league. And that position now has become ever so more popular because people realise now how important those players are. I mean, like you said, he's that player he can man mark someone the whole game, for example, and just that player's not going to touch the ball.
What I think sets Fernandinho apart from a lot of the DMs as well is he's sort of reading of danger. So I think as soon as there is a sort of dangerous attack building, he will just chop someone down. But as well, he's good at winning the ball back high up the field when he senses that they can counter-attack and start a counter-attack of his own. I could give you endless examples of where the team have thought they were going to be on a break. Fernandinho was cut out at source, and City are all of a sudden on a break and we've scored a goal.
I remember last season as well, I think you struggled a lot more defensively because of Fernandinho, the fact that he had to go in centre-half because of your injuries.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like you then had a problem in centre midfield, which is why this season you're performing so well because Fernandinho is now able to come back in his position in the centre mid spot, and obviously Stones and Diaz and Laporte are basically the best centre halves in the world has ever seen now. So I do feel like that, like I said previously, that CDM role now has become, because it's become so important now because people suddenly realise, oh, actually you might need a good player there. He's suddenly now started to being rated by more people now. But I think as well, like you said, because you signed him at 28 years old, he's not one of these young players that suddenly come through the academy, for example, like Foden or whatever. He's basically a very underrated person for me, which is why we're now going to go on someone in a similar position now. A big Serbian, Nemanja Matic, 223 Premier League appearances for Chelsea and Man United. Just the 15 goal contributions in his time. 2 Premier Leagues he's won, both for Chelsea. 1 FA Cup and 1 PFA Team of the Year he was in 2014-15. First of all, I remember a quote from Gerrard back in 2018 when Matic first signed for Man United, and he said he was the only player out of the whole of world football that he's jealous of Man United signing. Do you agree with Gerrard in the fact that how...
Wow.
Yeah. Do you agree with Gerrard the fact that he's so inspirational?
It said it. I mean, it definitely seemed it at the time that it was United. That was a summer where they signed like Morgan Schneiderlin and Januzaj and Di Maria. Was it that summer?
No, they've only signed him after they won the Europa League. So this was only 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. Okay. So I must be thinking of a different summer.
Yeah.
But it definitely seemed at the time like it was a really, really, really good signing for United. They needed a DM ever since Carrick left the club. To be honest.
Yeah.
It felt like he was probably the most established defensive midfielder in the Premier League at the time.
Yes.
And he was brought in to kind of guarantee instant success under Mourinho, and he did for a certain amount of time. I don't think he really lived up to much expectations, and he's still there now. And I know he's not like one of Ollie's favoured personnel. He likes McTominay and Fred, don't he? In there.
I know a lot of Man United fans like Fred, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, I think it's, I would say about Fernandinho, that role now has become so like prolific now because of that CDM role, how popular it's become.
Yeah.
That Matic and how tall he is as well, and basically he can just sit in a certain position, just block everything coming through, and intercept the ball. And I feel like I feel like Man United just ruins a lot of players. I'm not gonna lie.
He's massively important. He plays a massively important role, but he has done in the Premier League for a number of years.
Man United just ruin players.
Basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically about it. Nemanja Matic, he's underrated. Yeah, we'll just finish with that. Another player we're going to talk about now is actually a goalkeeper. You know this player quite well. It's Joe Hart. Underrated. 340 Premier League appearances. So Man City, West Ham, Burnley, and Birmingham City. 4 Golden Gloves, 2 Premier Leagues, 2 FA Cups, 2 Carabao Cup, and he's actually made the PFA Team of the Year twice with two different clubs in the Premier League, with Birmingham and Man City. He left Man City in a not an ideal way. Obviously, not fell out with Pep, but was out of favour with Pep. Where does Joe Hart sit with you in the all-time Man City goalkeepers?
Maybe not the most underrated, the most disrespected goalkeeper of all time, I'd say.
Right.
In terms of goalkeepers, for me, he's my favourite City goalkeeper. I don't think he's seen as the best, but for me, he was so good for 7-8 years at City. He was one of the very few in the initial years of City breaking into the Champions League that actually perform on a Champions League night. I remember one particular one against Borussia Dortmund, and then one against Barcelona.
I remember that was at Barcelona.
Yeah, where he made Messi do that little flip where he just like that. How am I going to score past this lad? I think because of the scale of his sort of fall off, everyone has kind of just wrote him off in terms of how good he was. But winning 4 Golden Gloves, you're not a mug. No matter what team you play for, you're not a mug. And he was a fantastic shot stopper. The thing that ended his time at City was that he wasn't good with his feet. And we've seen modern day keepers have to be good with the feet. I don't think it was a sour ending. I think Guardiola just come in, similar how he did to like Ronaldinho at Barcelona. You know, he was a very favoured personnel there, and he just kind of went
sod off.
You're not sod off, but like you're not how I want to play football. You're not suited to that.
Yeah.
You know, like, no hard feelings. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, I would look for a new club because I want to bring someone else in. You know what I mean? Though, like it's a polite way of saying piss off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But in terms of being underrated, vastly underrated because of how disrespected he is nowadays.
That's why I say more underrated. Like the fact that when you think of Premier League goalkeepers, you think, oh, Joe Hart, but then you realise, oh no, he performed so bad.
But it's like if you say that to like a general football fan now, they'll laugh at you.
Yeah,
that's so disrespectful to what he's achieved in the game.
Yeah, I didn't even realise how good of a season he actually did for Birmingham City before he played for Man City. He got into the Team of the Year for. I mean, I think they got.
He's on loan, yeah.
I don't think they got relegated or not. I can't remember that season. Yeah. Birmingham. But I mean, if he's got the Team of the Year and he's got relegated, it proves how well he actually kept the team in there. Like I said, he's won pretty much everything at Man City bar European title. I still feel like he was England's best goalkeeper in my decade I've ever seen.
Yep. He was England's number 1 for a long time.
And he was unchallenged as well. It's only really Jack Butland coming through at the time, which really even
injury problems as well for England.
I do feel like, unfortunately, how it ended has made the reputation of Joe Hart how it is today.
And since then, he hasn't been a good goalkeeper.
No.
And there was hints of it in like the Euros when he like the Gareth Bale free kick against Wales, the goals against Iceland. He should have done better with as well.
It basically wasn't a great time. That's basically when Pep came in after that tournament, didn't he?
Yeah, he just lost completely in all confidence in his abilities, and since then has been on a bit of a down spiral.
I mean, he went alone to Torino, didn't we? I thought that's an interesting one, and then obviously he didn't perform great over there in Torino. That's why when the manager said he expected better, expected less mistakes from England's national. That's what the chairman said, Torino chairman. And then like I said, I feel like he's just been put under the carpet, put under the rug, and people just realise he's not a great goalkeeper because of how he's ended at Man City. But 100%, he's probably the best English keeper this past decade. Obviously winning the league at Man City as your starting goalkeeper is no mean feat. It's not easy. But I totally agree with you. I mean, I feel like he's possibly the most underrated goalkeeper in that position in the past decade. I feel like because of how it ended. The next player on this list is a Man United player. Obviously, we're not Man United fans, but growing up, this player kind of stood out to me as a underrated player. Jason Park for Man United, 154 Premier League appearances for him. 19 goals, 21 assists, 4 Premier League, 4 Carabao Cups, 1 Champions League, 1 Club World Cup. I think he won an FA Cup as well, I assume.
What is the Club World Cup?
Do you know what?
Is that the winners of the Champions League and the Europa League?
No, the Club World Cup is the one where they play against Flamengo.
Oh,
stuff
like
that.
Brazil, right?
Yeah, so do you know the one where they have the badge, the gold badge in the middle of the shirt?
The one Liverpool.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I feel like it's put under the radar so much in Man United because of all the players they had, like the Ronaldo, the Scholes, and the Rooney. You don't really recognise how much of an impact Jason Park made. I mean, I remember seeing the counter-attack, obviously the one that sticks to mind at the moment for most Man United fans, the counter-attack goal he did against Arsenal. I remember Jason Park coming in the ball, but speaking to Man United fans in previous times, I spoke to one of them at work recently. He was saying how you don't really expect a player like him to make an impact. I mean, I've done recently in university and business how in previous times a lot of clubs now sign Asian players to obviously make the market better. That's why that's similar to Kagawa to Man United in the first place. But I just feel like he was a really, really good player in the squad where full of overloaded of just world class players. He just went under the radar because of how good the player is. Do you have anything to comment on that?
No, I completely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. He was just underrated because of the absolute quality he's got around him. I think he's similar to the sort. He was your kind of old school defensive midfielder, wanting that box to box.
Yes.
Just did all the dirty work, but didn't really grab all the headlines. And when you took him out of that system, who knows? You know, it might have kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
But I think you're spot on. That the reason he's underrated is because he wasn't talked about in the bracket of the other players, and probably rightly so, because probably wasn't as good a quality as like the Scholes and that. But he was a vital cog in that team, and I think that's why he's massively underrated.
The next player we're going to go on to is a centre half now, and it's player for Man United son. It's John O'Shea.
His record's mad.
Might be a bit of a weird one. This.
What a drop off, by the way. United to Sunderland, crazy.
115 clean sheets for John O'Shea. 5 Premier Leagues, not bad, is it? 1 Champions League, 1 FA Cup, 2 Carabao Cups, 1 Club World Cup. I specifically remember for John O'Shea that celebration against Arsenal where he's
when he like ripped off the pitch and then chipped the keeper. Yeah,
that was just crazy to me. I mean, it's like we said previously about the players in the squad. It's happened to John O'Shea as well. You're not going to get in the squad of Rio Ferdinand and Manjovic, but when he does come in, he's world class, and I think that's what makes him such an underrated player because of how well he comes in. It's pretty similar to Johnny Evans when he played for Man United as well, actually. Both Irish and Northern Irish. He comes into that squad and basically does the role, say for example if Fernando Vidic was injured, and basically fits in that role perfectly fine. But because he's not Fernando Vidic, similar to Jason Park, he doesn't get the applause that he gets. I mean, I know he went off to Sunderland after Man United and obviously was basically playing relegation battle every single season, but to win 5 Premier Leagues, 1 Champions League, and playing for the squad, not just like sit on the bench all the time, he actually played for the squad properly as well. I feel like he's really, really underrated and one of the top players, top centre. I mean, as one of the centre halves. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The CV's crazy. But obviously, in that time, Man United might actually win everything, wouldn't they? Everything that was at the time, Man United win everything.
I'm not really too clued up on like how brilliant he was because you don't watch other clubs.
You don't watch Man United.
Don't watch Man United.
Oh, seriously, fair enough.
But I mean, you don't have a record of like that by fluke.
Exactly.
So he must have been a really good.
The man on this list with the most Premier League appearances as well, 445.
Yeah, massive.
End of the day, he's been a stalwart in the Premier League. He's been there for donks.
And I don't know, but I assume he was signed for mega cheap.
Probably
as well.
I'm not actually 100% sure where he got him from, but it's probably the case.
There's no way he was signed for more than 10 million, I'd say.
Oh, not bad either. Yeah, John O'Shea, very, very underrated centre half. Just not many people recognise him.
He'll never ever be talked about as one of the best centre halves, but he was massively underrated.
But like I said, something to Jason Park, because that time at Man United, after all the big names and stuff, it just goes completely under the carpet. We're only going to do 9. We had the bucket about one of them, so we're going to do 9 on this list. The final player on this list is Daniel Sturridge. 218 Premier League appearances for Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Bolton, West Brom, where he's been. 76 goals, 21 assists, 1 Premier League, that was with Chelsea. 2 Champions Leagues with Liverpool and Chelsea. 2 FA Cups.
Did he play any major part in any of them Champions Leagues? He didn't, did he?
He played, I think, in the groups for both of them. probably.
I just
I
don't.
know.
It feels like
Two
it's
FA
so
Cups,
fake.
one with Chelsea. You got the PFA Team of the Year 2013-14 with Suarez. He
And
won.
Sterling.
He's won 2 Premier League Player of the Months, August 2013, February 2014. What specifically sticks out for me at Daniel Sturridge is obviously the SSS season for Liverpool. I mean, how well he was playing with Suarez. I mean, obviously Suarez brought out the best of him. Suarez brings out the best of anyone. Could probably bring the best out of my man. But how good of a player he can be on his day. But he's one of those players where the attitude was not right.
His link-up play with Suarez and Sterling that season was scary. Them two young lads with that kind of experience, and Suarez was mental, and that was like his peak, you'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
But he could never sustain that for a longer period of time to be consistently at the top. And after that year at Liverpool, you kind of tell, and obviously injuries has not helped him in the slightest.
I know. Obviously he played for Man City as well.
Very young. I think did he come through City's academy?
You tell me. Did he come from Man City?
I'm not 100% sure. I feel like he did. He did. I don't think he may not have come through City's academy, but he definitely was promoted from City's academy.
Right.
And he was a very exciting young lad when he was back there, but he could never find the consistency to play for City regularly.
Yeah.
Obviously, then moved to Chelsea and was miles better. But I've never felt like, apart from that season where he's won all these kind of accolades individually, he's never really stood out as being one of the best. Like, that season he was in the best front three, but then again, Luis Suarez outshone him in that season.
True. He basically averages a goal every 3 games in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I just personally feel like, which is why I had him to this list, that he goes under the radar so much because of the players he's basically started with. I mean, Luis Suarez, like I said to you, can make my nan look world class, can't he? And how great of a player he is. If he had, I always say the same. If he had a good attitude, he'd make it at the top.
I don't even think it's an attitude thing.
But it's also injuries as well. I mean, Daniel Sturridge is always like Sturridge is always out for like 6 months every season.
I think players always have these sort of attitude things, but his injuries has killed him completely.
Do you reckon if Sterling stayed at Liverpool, or do you reckon if he actually won the Premier League with Liverpool, not Chelsea, like we said, well, because he technically did with Chelsea, he only made like 10 appearances. But do you reckon if he won the Premier League with Liverpool, it would have possibly made him a better player? Because they were so close until the certain slip from a young man.
I don't think so. I think it would just cemented what a brilliant season. Like, it almost felt criminal that front three didn't win anything that season. But yeah, but no, because I think injuries. So I think even if Sterling stays, Suarez went the season after. They had one more season that Suarez and then left. So even if they stay on peak form, Sturridge's injuries have still killed him. I think that's what started that kind of downward spiral at Liverpool, the injuries, for sure.
I mean, you can even see a Liverpool like downgrade he had from, I remember 2 years after Sturridge and Suarez. Well, Sturridge still playing for Liverpool for ages, but he probably had his injuries. Yeah. Maybe it's Balotelli, Ricky Lambert, and Fabio Borini up front for Liverpool.
Against Real Madrid in the Champions League.
There we go.
That. Was that the year after?
It was only a couple of years after, I specifically remember. And that's what I'm saying. That's how much like you realise, wait, Sturridge actually is pretty good. comparing to Mario Balotelli and Ricky Lambert.
His individual quality, you cannot argue, really good.
It's just, like I said, he's one of those players where you don't realise, you don't know how good he is until you look back in the past and see, look how great he was.
And that is the definition of underrated.
And I think we should end it there now. 9 players. If any more you recommend, or any players you think, wow, he should have been added to the list in any position, please just let us know. We just want interaction, basically, guys. We just want people to let us know how we're doing and if you're enjoying the content as well. Episode 5, that was, of the Over the Line podcast. Harry, how do you think it went? Good? You enjoy it?
I think we've got a good list there, mate. I do. And I've enjoyed it, yeah.
Beautiful. Like we said, thank you very much for your support on YouTube and the views and the subscribers. And if you listen on Spotify, thank you for doing that. Well, obviously our links will be in Spotify.
Make sure you follow on Spotify.
Please do, yeah, as well. Like I said, if you just want to listen to Spotify, obviously, you might want to watch a 45-minute video. How long it be, just listen to Spotify in the
And also, what I hate, unless you've got YouTube Premium, you can't like lock your phone and go and listen to it while you're in the goal. Whereas Spotify's perfect.
So please go and check that out.
But that'll be linked in the description.
Yeah, linked on Twitter if
you didn't know about that already, and it'll be on Twitter, of course.
TikTok as well. If you want to follow us on TikTok, please do. We're doing it over or underrated on that as well. of the underrated topic. So
Yeah. Funnily enough.
Please check us out on that. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you next video. See you later.